Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to Mark, my astrology channel. If you're a subscriber, then thank you very much. If not, I'd appreciate if you wouldn't mind hitting the button at the end of the video. We start the month with a new moon, but with this new moon there's a little bit of a contradiction because the new moon's in Aries, which is full of vigour and the need to get things going and start new ventures. But then on the other hand, it's in your 12th house. Now the 12th house is about taking it easy. It's about reviewing the last year and kind of taking stock of things, seeing where you are and where you want to be, and planning for the next new moon. Now, coincidentally, the next new moon is in your sign of Taurus, but it's also this month. It's at the end of the month, so you have a couple of weeks to start planning and reviewing, taking stock of where you are before the new moon is in Taurus, because the sun will be moving into your sign later on this month. This is when things will start to come out into the open. Now we have two aspects conjunct in this new moon. One is Chiron. So this is a time to work with any unconscious fears, any unconscious wounds that maybe have a little more effect than you absolutely think. But with Mercury as well conjunct in the sun, then this is a time you can delve within the unconscious and to discover things about how you've perhaps thought of things in the past, and maybe you've now come to a time when you can review things and look at things in a different light. This will help you going forward when we get the sun in your sign next month. There are two other aspects on the first. Both are connecting to the moon's nodes. Now Saturn makes a square to the moon's nodes, and Neptune makes a positive aspect to them. Now Saturn is in your 10th house of career and destiny, and what it's doing when it contacts as the two nodes is forming a T-square, so the two ends to this square like a seesaw. Now the South Node is in the 7th house, so this would imply that in the past with regarding career and destiny matters, if you relied too heavily on other people and their decisions. Now it's time to go towards the North Node and make your own decisions, informed decisions. There's a time to be considered. It's a time to use and make best use of your resources and to work within the existing framework you have within your career or your destined path. Now the addition of Neptune make an aspect, especially a positive aspect to the moon's North Node, is that this can also bring the spiritual side into things. It's a time when you may meet someone, a guru, a friend, a colleague, or see someone on TV who inspires you to empower yourself and to do what it is you know you've got to do, but maybe in the past you've been afraid to do. Now the aspect between Saturn and the moon's nose lasts for 19 days, so that's a good stretch of time to work with this. And also on the first we have a conjunction with Juno, so that's a good time to make a commitment to your future. But on the 4th we have a little bit of a blip because Mars comes blundering in. He's also in the 10th house, he comes right up behind Saturn, and his energy is obviously very forthright and he wants to get on with things, but Saturn has to limit and quieten him down, because this isn't the time to go blundering forward. It's a time to take stock and to do things slowly at an even pace. So there may be some irritations or irritabilities from Mars at this time, so if you have excess energy, channel it in another way. Do some exercise or do some DIY, something that can use up that energy. The thing is not to blame other people. It's very easy with Mars connecting the moon's nose to point a finger at someone else and say it's your fault, this has happened. It isn't at all. And with the moon's nose it's best to do very little and achieve a little than it is to go blundering in with Mars trying to achieve a lot and actually doing nothing at all. Now the other aspect on the 4th is from Jupiter to the moon's nose. This brings another dimension because Jupiter's in that 11th house of future planning and also of networking and friends and colleagues. So this is a time when these type of people can help you. So you need to pay attention to what people say because they can open doors for you. Now Jupiter is beneficial in this positive aspect with the nose, so this could change your future going forward. And also with Venus making an aspect on the 8th to the black moon, you can be yourself and you can be quite charming. So this is a good day to get what you want out of other people, and be very mindful that they can help you. On the 7th we have our biggest astrological event of the year, the coming together of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. Now this doesn't happen very often. The last time they came together in Pisces was in 1856, and this was a fantastic year. This was the year that the blues music started, and also there were 4 Nobel Prize winners born in this year. People like Telsa, people like George Bernard Shaw, a lot of creative talents were born in this year. And also Sigmund Freud, who started the psychoanalytical era. Now, what does it mean for you? Well, it happens in your 11th house. This is the house of humanitarian issues. So this is an ideal time to look at things in that area, maybe get involved in humanitarian issues. Now, with the 2 coming together, this is an incredible time for creativity. So if you work in the creative industry or you have creative talents, this is a great time to explore them. You come up with some great new ideas because Jupiter brings out and expands the imagination of Neptune. Now, the other thing that we get here is an increase in spirituality. Now, over the past couple of years we've had some very hard aspects with the bigger planets, but this one is completely different. This will cause a revolution, but it will be a quiet revolution. It will be a cultural revolution. It will be a healing revolution where things will change, but they will change slowly and for the better. There won't be the demonstrations and the aggression that there were with the other planets. And for the 11th house, it's a great time to get involved with other people. Join a group. This is a time when you can develop your leadership skills and to lead others and to set a good example for others. And also we spoke earlier about the Neptune side of gaining some spiritual insights, maybe from a guru or a teacher. This still applies with this aspect. This will be ongoing for most of the year. So it's a great time to advance yourself spiritually as well as creatively. Between the 7th and the 10th, Mercury glides through your 12th house. It's a good time to apply yourself to those duties and obligations that you need to fulfill, especially paperwork and mundane tasks. This is a good time to focus on those and get them done out of the way before Mercury moves into the 1st house and your sign of Taurus on the 10th. At the moment he's racing ahead of the sun and he wants to get there first. It's like a race to him. But you need to complete these tasks and need to apply yourself mentally to all the unfinished business before you have a clean start in the 1st house and the start of the new year for you, Taurus. The other thing with Mercury is that it's a good time now with him in the 12th house to think about things, psychological things that have been at the back of your mind, emotional things, and it's time to clear some of this out. It's a good time to bring things up and to speak openly and honestly from the heart about any subjects that are still bothering you and put them to rest so you can have a clean break. The Sun is not very far behind Mercury, and on the 12th makes an aspect to Saturn as well, positive aspect. Remember the Sun is also in that 12th house, so it's a time to get your house in order, to again apply yourself to any obligations or duties that need fulfilling. And also it's a good time to ground yourself, ready for when you move into Taurus. On the 14th there's an aspect between Mars and the Black Moon Lilith, and normally this would stir up a lot of passion and desire and a desire to fulfill your needs and progress. But both these planets are around 29 degrees and this is what we call anoretic, so they've lost their power. And it's not a good time to make any decisions because they're not functioning properly. They can't wait to get into their new signs. Mars is moving into Pisces and the Black Moon into Cancer. So this is a time when maybe just let things ride, don't make any important decisions, allow them to move out of their signs into new signs and new houses. On the 16th we have our first full moon of the new astrological year, and this is in Libra. This is a big shift now from the 12th house to the 6th house for you. In Libra it's about understanding the needs and the desires of other people. There's a big focus on you for the first 2 weeks of the month, with the 12th house about your internal workings and your unconscious area. Now you've got to switch and bring it out into the open and pay attention to the 6th house in your everyday routines. And this also will involve other people. You may be irritated at the moment. You may think, right, it's time to change job, or it's time to go on a diet and have a new exercise program. These kind of things can come up during this full moon, but don't make any quick snap decisions. Make sure that you consider things carefully, because the sun is going to move into your first house very shortly, so you don't want to make any decisions that will affect its progress through your sign. Now, the other thing about the 6th house is it's time to pay attention to detail. Sometimes it's the small things that cause us the most irritation. We can put up with some of the bigger things in life that are happening, but sometimes it's those little small things that can really annoy us. So pay attention to those small things. If there's things at work you can change within your routines, or if there's things in your other habits that you can just make a little adjustments to make life just that bit more enjoyable, that would be good. Now, the other thing about this full moon is it's at 26 degrees Libra, and this is a critical degree. This gives it more power, more impetus, because this is going to be very important over the next couple of weeks. So you need to focus on other people. You need to adjust yourself to their needs and incorporate their needs and your needs into your daily routines. All change on the 20th as the sun moves into your sign of Taurus. Immediately he makes a positive aspect to the black moon Lilith, who's also just changed signs. So they're both very powerful at 0 degrees now, and will be really trying to exert themselves. Now this aspect can help you to show your talents, to show off and bring what you have to the table, so people can see. It's a time now when you'll wear your heart on your sleeve and you can be upfront with everybody, because now the sun is in that first house of you and how you project yourself to others. But with this aspect as well, with the black moon moving into the 3rd house, she casts a shadow over the house she's in. This is over the role of communication, so you need to examine how you communicate with others. This will be under scrutiny over the next year, and this is a good time to improve your communication skills in all areas. Then on the 21st, more changes. Juno, the asteroid, moves into Pisces. Now, Juno in Pisces is beautiful because it brings forth unconditional love. It can bring forth soulmates. It can bring forth fantastic creativity within relationships. But it's also about power sharing within relationships. So these are the issues that will be in focus over the next few weeks. Now, Juno's in your 11th house, so this will focus definitely on friends, on groups and colleagues, and how you behave with them. And it could be someone within these areas that comes out of their shell, so to speak, and reveal themselves to be probably a better friend or a better colleague than you ever imagined. And this relationship could develop under this transit of Juno. Between the 23rd and the 27th, Venus conjuncts Neptune and Mercury conjuncts the North Node, and they make positive aspects to each other. So this is fantastic. So again, that emphasis on the 11th house means that this is the area where something will happen. This is the area where a soulmate may appear. This is the time when someone will help you, help open a door. And this is compounded on the 29th, when Jupiter makes a positive aspect to Pluto. And Jupiter's well in that 11th house. This is a time to remodel your life, to reinvent things around that 11th house. The 11th house is about your ideals, about your future plans, about where you want to be in the future. This is a time when you can remodel this, and this is a time when you can focus purely on what's got to be done. Now, there are a lot of confusions with, especially with the black moon in that 3rd house for the next year. There may be questions that you're asking about the direction you're going in, and it may be that it's time to change direction or change your dreams and ideals for the future, so that you can focus on the new dream, on the new way forward. On the 30th, we have our second new moon, Now this hasn't got any astrological significance, but the pagans used to say that the second new moon was a black moon. It was particularly good for casting spells and doing rituals. But for you, this new moon is in Taurus. This is the thing we've been waiting for. But it's also a partial solar eclipse, so this adds impetus to this. And apart from that, it's also conjunct Uranus, so we have a lot of unpredictability. Eclipses are wild cards anyway, but we have the unpredictability of Uranus. It's been in your sign now for some time, so this could be a time when things culminate. You've been working on things in the background, hopefully with the Sun and Mercury being in that 12th house over the last few weeks. So now things can come out in the open. This is when you can show yourself, you can reinvent yourself now. You can be a new you, show the world your talent, show the world what you can do. Now with this eclipse, it's part of the Saras 6 North series, and this series is renowned for having to take on responsibility, so take on control for something. It's also highlights relationship with authority figures, so it could be time when you need to take over and do something that maybe will benefit not only yourself but also to benefit others. Thank you for watching the April review. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please subscribe. If you'd like to leave me a comment, I'd be glad to hear from you.